Hey everybody, it is Sunday, Easter Sunday, the Wednesday after Mom passed away. If you're just catching this, it was a peaceful passing. We did home hospice. It was as good of a transition as it could get. As well, we had a hospice team. Here in my state, we have something. There are places where they will help you hospice your loved one, but we elected to do home hospice instead of a facility hospice, because just in a facility, it's just you can't stay. They're not right there. Basically, it's shuttling yourself back and forth between the facility and the house. So we elected to do it at home. I elected to do it at home. And there really isn't it. So basically, so there's a hospice team, there's a nurse, there's a counselor, there's a priest, there's a case manager, and one more thing that I can't. There's at least 4. I think there's 5, but can't think of it right now. But yes, we elected to do home hospice for Mom. She passed away Wednesday. Some interesting things happened after she passed. And by the way, I got a comment on one of the videos. I got a comment that, oh, you're smiling. You shouldn't be smiling. You're a few seconds into the video and you're smiling. It's a grimace. It's a family thing. You're so frustrated. Not a frustration. It's so feeling of helplessness, and that nothing you can do will change things. So that's the family grimace. It's hard to explain. Welcome to being part Finnish. So, but yeah, she passed away on Wednesday, and we had done this transition a decade ago for my father. My father died of multiple myeloma. We did home hospice. It was a different experience because we didn't really use a hospice company. It was all done through the medical team, the cancer doctor medical team. And we hired a health aide for Dad. So we have my mom's health aide, home health aide that had been with her for over a decade, came and in time and was there for the transition, and the family was there. And afterwards, we knew enough that you don't have to call the 1-800 number right away. So after my mom transitioned, we sat with her for a bit. We told her we loved her, and sat. And after a while, my brother's like, okay, well, I guess it's time to call the 1-800 number. So I was gonna do that. We were gonna do that, but I texted our nurse, because we had a hospice nurse that has been guiding us through this whole thing. Yeah, very good, by the way. I recommend the company. She was a fantastic hospice nurse. And I texted her, and I knew that she was going to be here. The nursing transitioned from twice a week to 3 times a week to 7 days a week, all in the space of a few weeks. So the hospice nurse usually texts in the morning and says what time they're going to be there. So I knew she was going to be here late afternoon, but I thought I'd give her a heads up. Mom has passed. We're going to call the 1-800 number, but we thought we would let you know first. I thought she would want to know because she's been helping take care of Mom, and it was a really good rapport with the family. So I did that. She was with a patient, but she texted back, I'll be right over right after this patient. And then I guess my brother called the 1-800 number and let them know. And so the hospice nurse got the call to do the pronouncement, because the hospice nurse is trained to pronounce. So that wasn't bad. So the hospice nurse came over. She did the pronouncement, did all the things. And we had elected to do, Mom wanted to do a cremation, so there was arrangements made for the place to come pick up the remains. And so I had given them, did I call them? I think the hospice nurse called them to give us a call back, but they had my phone number. So they called, got all the information. There's some information that my brother had to put together for them, but that was something that he could work on. So I would say about an hour later, because usually they come immediately, but about an hour later, I got a phone call, and it was from the people coming over to pick up the remains. And they said, sorry, we're going to be a little late. We're going to be an hour and a half later, because the team had to go into a hoarder house. And the first thing I thought it was a whorehouse? No, a hoarder house. Okay. And it'll be a little late because they took them a little bit longer. And I said, basically they had to extract themselves from the hoarder house. It just came out. I'm sorry. It just came out. They do an extraction from the hoarder house, and the guy was like, and the other end of the phone was like, yes. Apparently they had to do an extraction through a window in one of the cities nearby, and it was taking them a while because that was the only way that could happen. So yeah, without thinking, I made the guy laugh. It's weird. Yes, our family is kind of strange that way. But yes, I made the guy laugh. Yes, I said, take your time. My brother was right there the whole time listening in. So I said, take your time. We'll be here. So that was that was one story. And then the second story is when they actually showed up. So, my brother is a first responder, so he's experienced in all this. And I used to be a nurse's aide. I was trained, not as an EMT. I was trained in, CPR, AED, all that stuff, that first aid type of stuff. And so familiar with the medical field. So the guys showed up and they said what they're going to do, and they spoke with us for a while, and they were really nice. And they said what would happen, and then how they would transport my mom's remains, but she had to go out in a body bag because that's the way they do it. That's the official, my state, this is the way you do it. So, okay. You're like, all right. So I said I could do everything and sit with the body and everything, but having them, I couldn't see them carrying my mom's remains out in a body bag. Okay. So I thanked them very much, and it all happened, and they got the gurney in, and I heard zipping. And then they went out, and we said, thank you very much. And they said, we said, thank you very much. They said, thank you very much. So sorry for your loss. And so that all happened. They loaded up, and they went out of the driveway. That's not the funny part. I have to take a drink. That's not the funny part. An hour and a half later, the doorbell rings, and my brother and I are sitting there processing everything at the kitchen table. We're processing. We're kind of trying to have supper, but it's just going through the motions as we're still processing. Doorbell rings, and I answer the door, and it's two police officers. I say, come on in. And they said, and the guy that spoke was like, an hour and a half ago, we got a phone call an hour and a half ago that somebody saw somebody being carried out in a body bag. And he was like, the expression on his face is like, yeah, no, we know that it's not, couldn't possibly be true, type of conversation. And so we thought we'd call and, do you know anything about that? Now, what's to his surprise, I went, why, yes. And his eyes popped open like, whoa, like saucers. And I had to explain everything to the nice 2 police officers that dispatch had gotten a call an hour and a half ago. And evidently, either they were very busy or they didn't really believe it because it took them an hour and a half to respond. And so, yes, I said, why, yes. Eyes popped, and so I had to explain it to them both. And I was explaining to them, I said, if you have a loved one, this is the way to go. This is the way to go. Do the home hospice for them. And I explained the home hospice. I explained they've been pronounced. I've explained all of the steps. And the guy wrote down the information. And I said, what company had come. And yes, 2 guys in ties on a gurney with a body bag. Yes, that happened. That look on those guys' faces was like, oh. So, and I didn't have the police scanner on because I would have given just about anything to hear what they would have responded to dispatch for the answer. And I know for some people that wasn't funny at all. And I'm sorry. But to me that was like the look on that guy's face when what they were seeing was true. The expression on the guy's faces. I was like, okay. But that's my funny story. It's funny stories, I guess. But that's what went on in my house. How are you doing? So yeah, thank you for all of your comments and all of your condolences and best wishes and everything. It means a lot to both me and the family. It's been a while. It seems like, the events of the last couple months have been just quick and a blur, and I probably should have written everything down as they were happening, because now it's kind of like throwing stuff up on the wall. It's everywhere. But this is my last parent. We're gonna have the ceremony and the memorial probably at the end of next month, because I guess they had to, by law, they have to hold the remains for 2 days before they do anything with it. And by the time you notify the family, and most of the family's out of state these days, and it's Easter, surprise. So we thought we would take our time doing things. We'd hold it on a day where people could make it. As I said, a lot of people are going to be coming in from out of state. So that's the next step, one of the next steps in the process. So that'll be, there are 2 steps remaining. The first step is when they give a call, I'll drive down and get the urn and bring the remains back. And then the second thing is to arrange the ceremony and the memorial process. But that's where we are at the moment. But I thought I could tell you the funny of the police officer. And he didn't even think that was a thing. He just, I think the dispatcher, they all thought, no, that couldn't possibly be true, but it was. I don't know. life is interesting at times. But as you can tell, I'm exhausted. I've been exhausted for a long time now. I've been exhausted since Mom's 2 hospital stays. The hospital stays last year. Well, the hospital dealings last year, the hospital this year, and the whole process. And it's been a whirlwind, and still have a lot of paperwork to go through. It's getting there, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it, right? Well, thank you for being my therapists. Thank you for listening to me if you made it this far. Thank you for all your kindnesses. It is something that I do recommend highly. I recommend home hospice. I mean, if your parent, if your loved one is going to be transitioning, home hospice is the way to go. You'll be there. Your loved ones will be there. It's a group effort. There are hospice teams that will help you through all of this. This hospice team, hospicing was recommended by the hospital. And in fact, the hospital case managers I sat down with at the time many months ago, and they talked about palliative care and hospice care and the difference between the two. And she might be doing palliative care, she'll be transitioning into hospice care because she had dementia. So dementia is a horrible disease. horrible disease. So if you get a chance with your parents, with your loved ones, do home hospice. It's a much easier transition. It's all about your loved one and all about them, not about anybody else. And they get to pass peacefully at home, in their own room, in their own bed, and be comfortable there. And the second thing I want to tell you, and I remind you of this, is teach your kids. Teach your kids to do this. Teach your kids to take care of you when you get older. Teach your kids at an early age so it's rote, so it's automatic, so they know what to do, so they can step in at the right time. They can do this. Because, yes, I could have put my mom in a hospice facility. I definitely could have put her in there, but I had a friend that was doing hospice facility because he didn't have any relatives that could take him. And going to visit, it's, the nurse comes in, make sure they're not in pain, make sure they're still okay, make sure they're still breathing, and they go out again because they have all these other patients to take care of. And yes, you're under a doctor's care and a nurse's care, but it's kind of, you're people, loved ones see you, but then they gotta go because they can't stay there. But so for home care, you would see your family much more, and they'll be in and out of the room, and you can hear them talking and conversing, and that's definitely something that's definitely the way to go. Palliative, that's hospice care with your loved ones, with your kids, knowing what to do at the right time, and just taking up that responsibility and trusting them to do the best thing for you. Anyways, okay, all right, I'm gonna finish my coffee. There's a few more things I have to do here, and at this point, it's Sunday. I'm just rambling. And I'll wrap up here and then do some more processing. All right. Okay, thanks. I hope this finds you well. Take care. Bye.